On night, May 1860, in a small town of Angus, Scotland, the Barrie family, living in a modest, humble cottage, has welcomed the newest member to the family, a night-born little boy named James. James Barrie was a boy who loved to play, perform, write, and imagine. He would transform the old washhouse at the back of the house into his theater and entertain his friends with simple plays. James grew up with his 7 siblings, 2 of whom passed away before he was born. Out of all the siblings, David, his older brother, was his most beloved. But at the age of 14, David was killed in an ice skating accident, and to the Barrie family, his loss could never be healed. James grew up following his dream, moving to London in 1884. After successfully publishing articles in several London newspapers, he writes his own stories. A few books in, until the book called The Little White Bird was published in 1902. One of the characters in the book has become the most influential character for all the children to this day, Peter Pan. While the stories of Peter Pan, as we know, are both fun and imaginative, the heart of the story is G.M. Barrie family's tragedy. His older brother, David, a child frozen in time, a boy who never grew up. Peter Pan embodies a deep psychological resonance of eternal childhood. It's also an explicit reflection of refusing the passage of time with an imagination of children. The story about childhood or young love has developed over the centuries, from just a child's play into several concepts like coming of age, first love, or high school love, the kind of love story that center around youth characters that resonate with us humans of all age. And especially since the 1980s, the start of the internet era, this trope has been spread all over the world. TV series, movies, music videos, novels, you name it. There's at least one famous story about this archetype in almost every country. This archetype is obviously still alive and kicking today among the thousands of childhood lovers that you can find anywhere. We have one character from the very niche specific media, an ultimate game. He is the first love that never really became one. He is our childhood and also a stranger. He is the Peter Pan that has to grow up. In this video, we're gonna deep dive into one of the most controversial and, in my humble opinion, the most complex and interesting first love archetype character. Let's talk about 𝜗𝜚. Love in general is important and precious at all ages, but there appears to be something extra about the love you experience early in your life. First love, and I would even include non-romantic love as well, like the first intense emotions you feel towards your loved ones when you are still learning about life, the kind of innocent passion that hasn't really been shaped by any expectation from the world. This kind of first, whether positive or negative, can quickly turn into the most important thing that shapes how we express ourselves into our adult lives, the same way that G.M. Barrie wrote about his beloved brother that turns into an iconic representation of eternal youth in a way. In this article, written by Barbara Brahms, called Adolescents in Love, What Makes a First Love Special, highlights some of the key points of first love that I find very interesting. Why a first love is so special is subject to debate. Possibly, adolescence is a critical period in which early romantic experience shape future expectations and attachment styles. This idea is supported by the concept of the reminiscence bomb, a well-documented psychological phenomenon in which memories from adolescence are particularly vivid and enduring. The brain's reward system, driven by dopamine, reinforces the emotional intensity of first love, making it a lasting and formative experience. While this does not mean that first love imprints in a biological sense, as one thought, it could explain why these memories remain powerful and significant throughout life. And when this concept is translated into media and fictional stories, we then see a lot of stories about first love, representing the feeling of nostalgia, the coming of age, the discoveries of self that lead the character into adulthood. The aesthetic of first love story is depicted in this soft, bright color palette. The main characters are surrounded with nature and often set in summertime, the season that represents freedom, play, holidays, and escapism. The plot is often driven solely by intense emotions of the main characters and the naive perspective they have of the world. The actions are not really logical, and how they navigate their relationships are not the healthiest in the eyes of us adults, the kind of hopeless romance that we often lost along the way of growing up. I do feel like, despite this archetype not being perfect to actually learn anything from, the reason why young love stories are so timeless and appeal to people, no matter what ages, is because it's universal. We all have childhood. We all experience love and heartbreak in our own unique ways, romantic or not. With your family, your first crush, your childhood friends, or your first kiss, the young love stories reflect the memories and periods in our life that we often look back fondly, missing how it used to make us feel and wish we can relive that feeling again. Caleb, at his core, embodies this archetype perfectly. He represents childhood, the familiarity, the first time we experience things growing up with someone. But as we all know, instead of telling his story in this straightforward way that we are familiar with when we think of the first love archetype, his official introduction as our love interest is nothing nostalgic. He came back as a new person, a stranger with dark and gloomy atmosphere that reminds you of a heavy storm rather than upright summer. He is no longer your kind-hearted brother figure that you remember, but a man who is ritually marketed by the game as broken promise, deceived, and possessive. Why did the game did him dirty like that, you might think? Instead of having the innocent young love boyfriend that probably wouldn't get him so much hate like he got to this day, why did the game introduce him and chose to tell his love story this way? Let's dive in. The earliest mention of Caleb in the game is a few years before the 𝜗𝜚 catastrophe that took place in 2034. Caleb, who was around 9 to 10 years old at the time, was one of the test subjects in the 𝜗𝜚 Research Center, the same place that did a horrible experiment on MC as well, as the test subject number 002. The people behind the observation window say that he will become a force comparable to a black hole given time. Not even light could escape it. And it's implied that after the mass wanderer attack happened and turned the whole area into the N109 zone, Caleb met MC in a shelter. Josephine, one of the scientists who did an experiment on MC, took both of them under her wings and hid them away from the rest of her co-workers. With the kind of experiment they did on MC, she loses all her previous memory every time she is killed and reborn again. Kind of like a reset. So, MC did not remember a single thing that they did to her. Caleb, on the other hand, he remembers everything. And so, the very first memory she has with her is when she holds his hand for the first time.
大丈夫よ。怖がらないで。今日から私たちは家族だからね。
家族になったらずっと一緒にいられるの？
そうよ。これからは私があなたたちのおばあちゃん。
In the empty void I see, everything is like a painting's white background that is seconds away from being drawn in the sea of color. There's one exception, the figure standing before me who is strikingly clear. Who are you again? She said.
忘れても大丈夫だ。教えてあげるから。俺は真昼。お前の兄ちゃんだ。
This is Caleb's first real identity, from the test subject with just a number to acknowledge his existence. Now he's Josephine's grandson and MC's brother.
いいな。今日から俺がお前の兄ちゃんだ。怖がらなくていい。俺たちは世界で一番仲良しなんだ。お前を傷つけたりなんてしない。どうして一人で隠れて泣いてるんだ。いじめられたのか。兄ちゃんがやり返してやる。俺の手をしっかり掴んでろよ。これではぐれたりしないぞ。
Caleb takes his role very seriously. He grew up doing everything for her, taking care of her like her second parent. Basically, she's spoiled rotten. MC also told him that she is originally not from Earth. Her real home is outside the space, which I think this might be her subconsciously remembering her origin, as we know by now who she actually is. But at the time, MC keeps asking Caleb to use his evil to try launching her into space. Caleb, who's already fascinated with airplanes at the time, then has his dream set in stone. You'll be the hunter, and I will be the pilot, with you on the ground and me in the sky. The whole world will be ours, he said. How does planes fly though? And if you're flying around in the sky, how will you come back down? It's like flying a kite. Someone on the ground holds the string, and once the person in the sky feels a tug, they will fly back down. When you miss me, just whisper my name in your heart. Can you do that for me? Caleb and MC both followed their dream growing up. Caleb especially grew up being well loved by all the people around him. He is the gang leader of the kids and adored by every adult in the neighborhood. He joined the basketball team and won so many competitions for the school. He is the model student with amazing grades and a promising future. After he graduated high school, he joined the Aerospace Academy in college to become a deep space pilot. There he met two of his roommates, Gideon and Patrick, who then later became his best friends. But during the graduation flight assessment, his aircraft is disrupted by the unknown electromagnetic interference and loses all the signals. It flew in the opposite direction of his intended route and crosses through the unexplored pathless line. It's safe to say that he almost died, but in his last moment, before losing consciousness, he suddenly remembers his third psychological conditioning class where the instructor told him, every flight could be a one-way journey, so you must find your own reason to keep going. His hand moves to his chest, touching the necklace MC gave him before he finally passes out. A week later, the rescue aircraft finds him. For some kind of miracle, he is still alive. They bring him back to the hospital. 3 broken ribs and significant lung damage is the result of the whole accident. Caleb kept all of this a secret from Grandma and MC. Before the graduation, MC came to Sky Heaven to help him pack up. And at this point, both Caleb and MC had already started to have feelings for each other, but neither of them were ready to admit it yet. MC found a letter in Caleb's dorm room, and low-key crashing out because she thought Caleb has a girlfriend. They clear things out on the day of graduation, and Caleb promises her that he would not get a girlfriend. You and Gran are enough for me, he told her. We then skip to the main story and meet Caleb as the player for the first time in this phone call. Then this chapter happened. Someone set off the explosion in their house. In a split second, Caleb uses his evil to push MC away from the explosion area. MC survived, but both Caleb and Grandma are gone. She spent the rest of the story trying to find the people who are behind the murder of her family, with the help of 4 hot men. Different places, different obstacles, but all of them went traces back to their source. These unrelated threads are connected to one massive entity, Ever. The limited amount of evidence also suggests that Ever was the true mastermind behind the explosion. Then, MC gets the new mission. Another explosion accident from Sky Heaven, the place that she visited not so long ago.
もちろん 俺はずっとお前のそばにいる。これは俺たちの約束だ。絶対だぞ。
お前とばあちゃんのために俺は無事に帰ってくる。たとえ何があっても。
MC receives a new case from the Sky Heaven branch about a metaflux explosion that has almost identical details to what happened at her house. 2 young siblings were home. One was injured and hospitalized, while the other is missing. The parents are unreachable. They suspected this case might involve the ether core and has requested assistance for the investigation. However, the mission was denied by the 𝒂𝒆𝒏𝒄𝒆𝒔 fleet, the most powerful authority groups in Sky Heaven. There is a statement that the new colonel, who is still in the deep space tunnel, is concerned about the confidential information related to the fleet, and so he prevents hunters from investigating. Obviously, this does not stop MC whatsoever. With the help of her boss, Jenna, she went undercover as one of the fleet officers and went to the crime scene. There she senses a strange energy with her evil. But before she could do anything, the whole team got called back to the fleet headquarters. The new colonel is suddenly back from the deep space tunnel to punish the mole behind this accident by himself. A man named Joseph was brought in as the criminal. There's so many details in this, but basically, according to the colonel himself, Joseph was addicted to some medication and went insane. He tried to kill his family and set up the explosion to wipe out the evidence of his crime. Joseph denied everything and accused the fleet as the one behind all of this. He mentioned something called the Turing shift before the colonel executed him in front of everyone. Then he announces that there is still one mole left among them. MC senses something is off and tries to sneak away, but the colonel stops her. As he approaches closer, she recognizes his voice and his evil immediately. The new colonel is Caleb. He took her to the interrogation room and pretended to not know her at first, but secretly whispered, "Just do what I told. It will be over soon." MC is confused as fuck, but she did what he told. Then the colonel reveals that he is indeed Caleb and is still alive. They reunite. Caleb told MC he doesn't remember how he survived the explosion. All he said was, "If I don't join the fleet, I will be abandoned." The story goes on. MC met the sister, Mai. She gives MC a dog plushie that then leads to her fighting Kevin, the other twins. She plans to rescue him the next night, but that very night, a mysterious man named Viper attacked her. Caleb came to help her, but she got sick the next morning due to her standing in the rain for too long. Caleb forces her to rest. He gave her a cold medicine that makes her drowsy, and she slept through the night of the rescue. The next morning, the news is out that Kevin has been found and rescued by the fleet. But the sad news is Maya, the sister, passed away. The story doesn't end here. The remains of the parents were found aboard the small starship Joseph has taken, which further proves his involvement. The 𝒂𝒆𝒏𝒄𝒆𝒔 fleet stepped in to address public concerns and quickly arrange an adoptive family for Kevin. Everything progressed at an unnaturally rapid pace. Their flawless response is too perfect. It was like watching a chess game where every move has been planned in advance. At the girl's funeral, MC met Kevin and noticed something slightly off about the boy. The boy doesn't cry or even show any emotions for the loss of his family at all. She also met Viper for the second time. He introduces himself as Caleb's friend and gives the address to MC. Go check it out yourself. MC followed the address and found out Caleb is behind everything. But she cannot think of a reason why. She heard them mention the cleanup that will be happening soon, so she formed a plan to trace Caleb's movement and follow him out on the night of the cleanup. She got attacked by all the failed experiments who are drawn to the ether core inside her and badly injured. Caleb found her and brought her back. He is mad that MC is throwing herself into danger like that. MC finally confronts him about what he did behind her back. His connection with the professor who adopted Kevin, him working forever, and the touring ship. They got into a big fight. I found Caleb again, and yet the familiar person from my memories has been eaten away by some indescribable hidden pain. Only fragments remain. The night sky above Sky Heaven is clear, but all its secrets are somewhere in the bottomless, unfathomable depths of his eyes. Caleb, how can you become someone I hardly recognize? She asked.
お前は空想の中で生きてたんだ。お前の力を欲しがる奴も、お前を傷つけようとする奴も消えるべきだ。俺のそばだけが安全だ。
こんな安全、危険の方がマシ。あなたの助けなんて。
俺なんていらないって。わかった。じゃあ何が欲しい？何でも言ってくれ。臨空に帰りたいなら一緒に帰ろう。昔に戻りたいならあの家をリフォームして一緒に住もう。部屋が一つじゃ足りないなら迷宮でも建てるか。全部最高のものを用意する。世界で一番綺麗な花園を作ってやるよ。俺がそばにいれば奴らはもう二度とお前のところに来ない。
アヒル、あなたはそんな人じゃない。あなたは私の兄さんで、私の大切な家族。
兄さん、お前の誤りは俺が過去の優しい兄ちゃんになりたがってると思ってることだ。俺は家族ごっこにはとっくに飽きてる。
After the cleanup, everything turned back to normal. MC has to go back to Lincoln and Caleb has to go into the deep space tunnel for a new mission. The tension still lingers. They reluctantly say goodbye before parting ways. On the way to Lincoln, MC found a paper in her pocket. It's the forgiving coupon for Caleb. Valid for 100 years. MC stares at the coupon and laughs at how ridiculous this is. I can't figure out what is real or fake with Caleb. But what I know for sure is that this person who is important to me, I don't want to lose him a second time. After the event in the main story, Caleb went back to Lincoln during his break, and they slowly found a new way to get along like they used to. They made some progress, but the question still lingers. What really happened to Caleb that changed him into an entirely different person like this? What secrets lie hidden behind that unfamiliar colonel's uniform? 2 months have passed. MC found a new opportunity to uncover Caleb's secret by a new mission. The Far Space Fleet sent a request to the Hunter Association to help assist the transferring of the Tomb Fleet to the Far Space Fleet. She took it and went to Sky Heaven to stay with Caleb. During the evaluation process, MC noticed the strange reactions and behaviors of the Tomb Fleet officers who, at first, refused to go under the so-called medical examination. Some of them scream about the touring ship again and how it turns people into monsters. But after they went through it, their personality completely changes, including their physical capability in their profiles as well. MC sneaks into the Colonel office to look for more information about it, and in there, she finds a full body scan of Caleb. It shows some part of his body has been modified. She also found a touring ship and an implanter as well. She took it and went back home with Caleb that day. After the transferring process is complete, the Far Space Fleet held a banquet to celebrate, but the party suddenly got ambushed. Concerning her safety, Caleb lies to MC and forces her to go back home while he was dealing with the property to himself. Liam, Caleb's adjutant, escorted MC out and calmly told her to not be upset with him. Miss Hunter, we are not the same as you. MC is upset, rightfully so. Sitting in the rainfall at the park outside, she made a decision. I can't tell which version of him is the real Caleb, but I know he's the most important person to me in this world. I once put him between a rock and a hard place. The fleet's colonel, secret training, the touring ship, modifications, whatever these terms really mean. They are the strings that bind Caleb's hands and feet. These strings compel him to reappear before me, and one day, the unseen hand controlling these strings will pull him away from me once more. The touring ship I took from the colonel's office is still in the secret compartment of my shoes, along with the implanter. The remaining distance between Caleb and me will disappear with just one simple press. She implants the touring ship in her arm just like that. My girl is crazy. Caleb found her and tried to bring her home. They got into a small argument, but Caleb suddenly went pale and collapsed from the pain. MC carried him home and tried to wake him up. She finally saw firsthand what the touring ship did to him. Due to his unstable condition he got from both the attack and his heightened emotion with MC, this stupid ship tries to reset itself and erase his memory to quote-unquote stabilize him. MC can only watch in terror. When they woke up in the morning, Caleb forgot everything. The amnesiac Caleb was like a blank page in the book. Desperate to hide him from the world, she lied to him, hid his phone, fleet uniform, communication device, and anything else that might wake him from this dream. Over the course of 3 days, they only spent their time with each other. The world beyond outside didn't mean anything to them. Caleb's memories started to come back to him little by little, but he kept it a secret. He took her to the amusement park. He confessed it to her, and they almost kissed. But then he catches the faint trace in her arm and realized it's the touring ship. MC also went into panic mode after seeing the fleet airplanes flying over the sky. She loses control of her sanity while the ship tries to take over. When she wakes up, Caleb took her to the fleet infirmary and is about to remove the touring ship from her. At this point, she finally losing it. She tries to drag Caleb away from all of this. Ever since we reunite, have you been enduring all this? Caleb, I don't understand. They change you, treat you like a pawn, and make you do those awful things. But you belong to me. You're the person I cherish the most. How could they do this to you? Now I'm the one who will settle the score with you. You killed my Caleb. The surgery went well. They successfully removed the ship from her body. MC woke up in Caleb's apartment. The memories of the past 3 days are still with her. She goes back to Lincoln shortly after she's back to normal, carries the new weight along with it. Back in Sky Heaven, Caleb's body is floating in the zero-gravity lab. Tiny currents of electricity crackle in the air and slither into his mechanical right arm. The Enforcer and the Professor Lucius quietly discuss with each other. The touring ship is controlling almost every part of his body, mainly his mechanical arm, but it cannot access the part of his memories. It appears he purposefully sealed his brain away. The patrol data they tried to input disappeared whenever it tried to reach that area. It vanished as if it's being pulled into a black hole. However, they found that this area was encrypted with multiple layers, so there must be a key to unlock it. They set the plan to find that key no matter what cost. Inside Caleb's memories, the part that he sealed away from the ship, he watches his younger self playing with young MC in a small garden behind the shelter. This abandoned place with overgrown vegetation is their first paradise. MC appears before him. Caleb, how come you're always the first one to find me? Her voice pierces his heart like a jolt of electricity. A lingering affliction he can never quite heal. It's also the source of his fears, his retreats, and his darkest thoughts. She stands at the end of everything, drawing him in. Gravity warps into a black hole around her.
それはきっとお前の想像する以上に俺がお前のことを愛してるからだ。
Caleb's introductions and his main story hit us with all the uncomfortable and intense feelings, leaving a lot of the players a bitter taste in their mouths, with the dark themes surrounding his character. People label him as the yandere or the incest guy. There's some truth in it, although I don't think there's anything wrong with calling him that, but if we look deeper into the actual inspiration for his character, instead of using some taboo figure in the religions or dark mythical concepts for him, the game uses the nerdiest concept as the reference for him, which are physics and gravity, to write his character. And according to this educational video for his second myth, what I personally interpret from this is that Caleb's character writing is based on the three main concepts that involve gravity, which are supernova, black hole, Roche limit. The concept of supernova is mainly used for his overall story arc on a more big picture. And since the main story will never reach a conclusion anytime soon, this concept is only fully explored in his limited myths instead. And with that, I will not talk about this one in this video. I will keep it for his myth prediction that I'm gonna make after this, okay? For the black hole, it's being used by the writers as the foundation of who he represents as a character. Black holes possess extreme density and powerful gravitation. Their boundary, known as the event horizon, creates a point of no return. Once any matter or light crosses this threshold, it cannot escape and is eternally devoured by the black hole. Black holes are passionate and inescapable. Once caught in the pool, breaking free becomes nearly impossible. But anything that got sucked inside the black hole has not really completely disappeared, actually. According to the physics principle of information conservation, matter absorbed by a black hole continues to exist in another form, perhaps as energy, or perhaps as encoded information, and its existence stays inside the black hole for eternity. Black holes are mysterious and powerful. We are fascinated by it but also scared of it at the same time. It represents the absolute, the ultimate embrace and full commitment of the entire being in the universe. Caleb is basically a black hole in a human form. The way he loves is absolute. It's consuming, all in. You're everything to me and I will be everything for you as well. It's the kind of love that doesn't really work in real life, but in fictional stories, it's the most delicious one, let's be real. And for the Roche limit, this concept is mainly used to explore the friction of his relationship with MC and how they have to overcome it. The Roche limit is the distance from a celestial body to another celestial body, held together by its own force of gravity. The smaller celestial body will usually orbit close to the primary celestial body like satellites, offering some kind of companion with safe boundaries and distance, but cannot truly embrace each other. When part of the satellites that are closer to the primary planet are attracted more strongly by its gravity than parts that are farther away, this is called tidal forces. This disparity effectively pulls the satellite apart from each other, breaking the smaller planets into star dust, gradually gathering around the primary planet to form a ring that encircles it, even at the cost of destruction of the smaller planet and complete transformation. I mean, do I really have to explain how this is related to the dynamic at all? The Roche limit acts as a boundary, the line that can never be crossed. Breaking the Roche limit line means destruction of the smaller planets, forever change into something new. But in return for breaking the limit, they achieve an eternal embrace. This proclaims to the universe, when the force of attraction is powerful enough, togetherness becomes forever. Caleb starts as a satellite that is safe, comfortable, and stable. He's always be by your side. His Roche limit is obviously his role as a brother, a family. You will love your family and they are the most important in your life, but it's also the line that he can never cross if he is still the same small planet that is orbiting around her. In order for them to truly be together, the story chose to break him apart, turn into someone new, the less full version of himself and also broken all around, but also gave him a choice to cross the boundary that is now gone. With all of that, it's still not just himself that represents the gravity in his own story. To 𝜗𝒓, his source of gravity is the thing that gave him the feeling of belonging in life, MC, and everything he used to have in his life growing up as well. His first identity as MC's brother, Josephine's grandson, to him, that's the gravity that keeps his feet on the ground. In his anecdote, when he took a psychological test while he was at the DAA and got the lowest score, it shows that 𝜗𝒓 doesn't have any fear of dying. All he worried about was not going home on time. And when he went through that accident that almost killed him the first time, he realized that coming back to MC, is what keeps him going. He has to go back and stand on the ground with her. He also has a dream to fulfill, a group of friends that he cares about, and a lot more beautiful memories to make. All these little gravity pulls that saved him that day. But even at that time still, he didn't recognize the most important source of gravity in his life. It's actually not MC, it's himself. Before we continue, let me recap the whole thing that happened to this man real quick for you. 𝜗𝒓 got experimented on at the age of 9 to 10 years old. Then Josephine adopted him with MC from age 11. During the time that he grew up, he also knew that the people from 𝒆𝒏 are still after MC, the most important person to him, by the way. He parentified himself and MC as best as he could. Then he got into the DAA and studied to become a pilot. On his break, he went back home and the explosion happened. He uses his evil to save MC and loses his right arm as a result. Professor Lucid, who was also after MC, found him, I would assume on the verge of death, and took him to the lab. He brought 𝜗𝒓 back to life and modified his body, adding a mechanical machine in his right arm and did an experiment on him. He threatens to abandon 𝜗𝒓 and leave him to die, and probably threatened to go after MC if 𝜗𝒓 doesn't agree to be his pawn. He put a Turing chip in 𝜗𝒓's body with the goal of turning him into a perfect weapon and make 𝜗𝒓 work for him in the fast space fleet and forever, aka the people that tear his family apart. Okay, the human body is far too fragile, but by surrendering warmth and sensation, even the simplest modifications can transform flesh and bone into unyielding machinery. Electric currents will course to the neural network, numbing everything, taking control of everything, until they completely replace him, turning him into a weapon, perfectly crafted for the task. The old man smiles at the thought, anticipation glinting in his eyes. 𝜗𝒓 in the main story is someone who got his autonomy completely stripped away. His dream of becoming a pilot is gone. His body isn't his own. His mind is being controlled. He has to do the job he hates, became the worst version of himself. His friends and people he loves thought he was dead, which is true. 𝜗𝒓 is dead. He is truly dead, in a sense. The golden boy who's always sparkling like the sun is gone. He's just like a dead planet now. A lot of players stopped interacting with him beyond the main story, which I get it, I almost did that too. But all the cards that came after his debut, each of them tells such a unique, thought-provoking story and really dive deeper into his development of finding his reason to live again. MC has to learn to accept that the 𝜗𝒓 she used to know no longer exists. It asks an important question. Will you still choose me even if I'm not convenient anymore? It takes time, several banners actually, but eventually her answer is yes. Always yes. It heals something in me, honestly. I also think a character like 𝜗𝒓 is very healing to a lot of us who grew up alone. It doesn't matter if you're an only child or have siblings, with a small family or big family, but you have to deal with your shit alone and have to take care of yourself both physically and emotionally because at some point of your growing up, you kind of realize that nobody is coming to save you. As someone who grew up in a household full of strong, independent girl boss women and saw all of them burning themselves to the ground, I see the cycle repeating for several generations until my own. I grew up mostly alone, having to take care of myself in every aspect, and I mostly did it well. But in reality, I just can't afford to be reckless. Because if I don't take care of myself well and keep myself in check, nobody else will. Nobody will save me but me. For some people, the yandere side of 𝒂𝒓 is a red flag. But for me, to have someone care about you and take care of you all the time, notice about every detail in your life, and make sure you never have to lift a finger, to be someone's first priority, someone's gravity, a reason for them to live, that to me is a daydream, a fantasy. And maybe I have been living as an independent woman my whole life. I have nothing to prove anymore, especially in the fictional content where I just want to be. His doting, overprotective personality healed the little girl inside me. In case you don't know, Raphael and 𝒂𝒓 are my favorite. I love both of them for completely different reasons. When I look at Raphael, I see everything that I have ever wanted in my partner. But when I look at 𝒂𝒓, most of the time I see myself, more specifically, my younger self. Without turning this into a whole trauma dumping video, I'm just gonna say that I too went through the same pain of growing up. I know how it feels to wake up one day and realize I have nothing to live for, and no one is living for me. The dreams I had in childhood are now impossible to reach. The friends and relationships that I thought would last forever now grew apart. I know how it feels to lose all the reason to wake up in the morning for anything or anyone. The love story with 𝒂𝒓 at its core is about the pain of growing up. It's the reality for a lot of us who once has a dream and hope in our childhood that things will get better, that we will become cooler, and we will find our own gravity to live for when we grow up. But even if all of them couldn't become a reality when we grow up, even if you are not the adult version that you used to dream of becoming when you were a kid, even when you are somehow still confused and struggling to find your gravity or be a gravity to someone, through the lens of MC, she also reminds some of us that it's still okay to keep going, keep searching, just like him. Before, I took you for granted. You were like the sun, and the sun is just in the sky, always shining. It's a part of my life, so I assume it would always be there. But back then, I never thought about how the sun might feel a little lonely, since it's up there by itself. Maybe what drew me in was never the sun or its light. It was just you, 𝒂𝒓. Even if you are a dim white dwarf, a supernova, or a bunch of runes, I wouldn't care. No matter what happens in the future, I just want us to stay like this. 𝒂𝒓's life right now sucks. There's really no hope that he can ever go back to his own life now. But even though this version of 𝒂𝒓 is like a random pieces of runes, pretty uncomfortable to hold and ugly to look at, MC still never gives up on him. There is no doubt that 𝒂𝒓 is the type of character that fits the I will die for you trope. Time and time again, we saw that 𝒂𝒓 will put himself in dangerous situations, whether because of his work or his love for MC. He's willing to sacrifice his life and well-being for anything, and doesn't really care for his own life. But as their story progresses, he realized that MC never wants him to die for her. What she asks from him instead is, will you live for me? Will you come back to me even if you are the worst version of yourself? Will you pick yourself up every day and keep going for me? Will you still let me into your life even if it's not the life that you have dreamed of? Will you take care of yourself for me? No matter how meaningless your life is right now, I will never give up on you. So please, never give up on yourself. And that makes me kind of realize it's also everything a 19 years old inside me ever wanted to hear as well.
信号を見失って周りが見えないなんてことは俺にとってはどうでもいい。 俺の航路図はお前の手の中にあって、いつも出発前から自分の目的地は分かってる。すべての障害を乗り越えてたどり着きたい場所はずっとたった一つだ。俺をお前のそばから連れて行くような人はどこにもいない。お前が初めて俺の手を取ったあの日から、俺はもう逃げられないさ。だから安心しろ。どんなことがあっても俺はお前のそばにいる。
俺は負けない。
守らなきゃいけない人がいるから。
Hi guys, it's Duckling. It's been a minute. How you guys doing? And if you're new here, hi, welcome. We are finally reaching the last part of this video series, character study video, and it feels unreal. If you told my past self this time last year that I will be making a whole series of over 30 minutes long video essays in a language that I barely speak with all these suck-ass tools that I owned, I would tell you outright that you're crazy. So seriously, thank you so much for watching and taking your time to comment. As a creative person, there's no better feeling than when you create something from your passion and have people telling you that they love and enjoy your work. It's the best feeling next to receiving money. Really. I'm so grateful for the love and support from you guys. Being part of this small community that enjoys the same thing and making something that people enjoy like this series has been one of the best highlights that I have had this past year actually. So, 𝒗𝒓𝒄𝒆𝒔 girlies, I hope you like this video. I hope it's not too heavy. I try my very best to tone it down and keep it less triggering as best as I could, but I mean, it's about 𝒗𝒓, what do you expect? And if you're not 𝒗𝒓 main, I hope this video helps you understand his character a bit better. It's my main goal for creating this whole series in the first place, you know? To help some of us understand all the characters and appreciate them even if they're not your pick to romance with. You don't have to like them, but they are made for someone out there. If you're interested in getting to know him better after watching this video, I recommend starting by reading all his cards that label old days and his anecdotes first, and then move on to main story, then these 3 standards 5-star cards, then his standard myth, then all his limited 5-star and limited 4-star cards in chronological orders of the release. His timeline is pretty easy to follow than the other guys. If you don't have any of the cards, well, Scarlet have you covered. I highly recommend her channel again if you are mainly playing the game in English dubbed, because 𝒗𝒓 especially suffers the most mistranslations that really change the depth of his character in my opinion, hence why I use the Japanese voiceovers in this video as well. One thing before I let you go, unlike somebody, I have a mini roadmap for you. I'm currently working on Caleb's new mid prediction video. Probably gonna come out shortly after this one, so I hope you're looking forward to that. And I also plan to do the banner deep dive video essay as well. I have one specific banner in mind that I'm sure you're gonna love it. And also another character study that is based on this book that I talk about in Raphael's video as well. I got a few comments telling me that they are interested in that topic, so I will give it a shot. But yeah, that's all I have. I'm not gonna waste you any more time. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day. See you next time. Bye.